Olódùmarè, the hidden king of Yoruba mythology. Imagine a supreme creator so absolute, you don't see statues built to contain him. No single shrine can hold him. No carved image can summarize him. And yet, in Yoruba thought, every breath you take still depends on the order he set in motion. So here's the real mystery. If Olódùmarè is the highest power, why does he sometimes feel like the least visible character in the stories? Tonight, we step into a world where the creator is real, but not easily reached. A world where divine power flows through many hands, and where the most important presence is often the one you cannot point to. In this video, we're exploring Olódùmarè, also called Olorun in many traditions, the supreme being in Yoruba cosmology. We'll answer 5 big questions. Who is Olódùmarè, really? Why are there multiple names for the same supreme power? How does creation unfold in Yoruba tradition, and why does it happen through divine agents? Why do the Òrìṣà matter if the supreme being is above all? And finally, what does Olódùmarè reveal about destiny, character, and the shape of a meaningful life? And one important note before we begin, Yoruba traditions are living and diverse. Different communities preserve different tellings. So I'll share common themes and popular versions, without pretending there's only one official script. Now, let's go to the source. Olódùmarè is not just a god, not one deity among many. Olódùmarè is the supreme being, the ultimate source of existence and authority. In many Yoruba frameworks, Olódùmarè is the reason reality can exist at all. The one who holds the deepest power, the power to make things be. Think of it like this. Some beings in myth are powerful because they fight well, or rule well, or trick well. Olódùmarè is powerful because existence itself answers to him. And that changes the whole texture of the stories. Because in many traditions, the supreme being is not described as a personality who walks around demanding attention. Instead, Olódùmarè feels foundational, vast, beyond. Like the sky that doesn't need your permission to be above you. This doesn't mean Olódùmarè is absent. It means Olódùmarè is too large to be reduced to a single face. So if you've ever felt confused, like, where is Olódùmarè in all these myths? That might be the point. When something is truly supreme, it doesn't always stand in the foreground. Sometimes it stands behind everything, so completely that you only notice it when you stop and ask, what makes the world hold together in the first place? One of the first things people notice is this. Why do we hear multiple names? Olódùmarè, Olorun. Sometimes you'll hear Elédùmarè, depending on spelling and translation. In many tellings, these names point to the same supreme being. Different titles, different angles, different ways to describe what can't be fully captured. And that's a human move, isn't it? When something is too big to describe, we circle it with words. We name it by what it does. We name it by where it is. We name it by what we need from it. Olorun is often understood as a title connected to heaven, something like owner of the sky or lord of the heavens, depending on translation and interpretation. Olódùmarè is often treated as a name that carries the weight of ultimate authority, of completeness, permanence, and supreme reality. But here's the deeper idea. In Yoruba thought, names aren't only labels, they're keys. Each name is a door into a relationship. Each title reveals a different aspect of the same vast truth. So rather than asking which one is correct, try asking what does each name reveal about how people experience the supreme being? Because the point isn't to trap Olódùmarè in one definition. The point is to recognize that the highest reality might require more than one human word. Here's a quick thought experiment. If a creator is truly infinite, would you expect a statue to capture them? Would you build a shrine to the sky itself? Or would you recognize that some powers are too large for a single room? Drop a comment with your answer, because this question sits at the heart of why Olódùmarè feels so different from other divine figures. And now, let's step into the creation story. In many Yoruba creation accounts, the beginning is not a tidy garden. Its vastness. Water, a formless expanse where land has not yet claimed its place. And above it, heaven, the realm of the divine. Olódùmarè is the ultimate authority in this realm, but creation often unfolds through delegated power, through divine agents who carry out the work. Here's one widely told shape of the myth. A divine mission is formed. The world below must be given structure. And so a great descent begins, often described as a chain or connection between heaven and the watery deep. A being, frequently associated with Obatala in many tellings, is sent to bring order, to shape what is shapeless. And the tools of creation are strange, sacred, and symbolic. A handful of earth, sometimes a shell or container of sand. Sometimes a bird, often a hen or similar creature, whose job is to spread that soil across the waters. This is not science, and it's not trying to be. It's a mythic language that says, order doesn't arrive by accident. It arrives by intention and by method. So the earth is released. The bird scatters it. Land appears where there was only water. And in some versions, the first solid ground becomes a sacred point of beginning, a place that matters not just geographically but spiritually, a first foothold in reality. Then comes the shaping of humanity, often connected again to Obatala, who forms human bodies, while the final spark of life belongs to the supreme power that can give breath. And notice what this does. It tells you that even when divine beings shape the world, there is still a final authority above them. Agents can build the form, but the deepest life comes from the source. And this is why Olódùmarè can feel behind the scenes. Because Olódùmarè doesn't have to do everything directly to be the reason everything exists. In a universe like this, delegation isn't weakness. It's the mark of a supreme being whose power is so complete. The cosmos can run through the hands of many without ever leaving the authority of one. Now we reach the question that keeps coming back. If Olódùmarè is supreme, why do so many stories focus on the Òrìṣà? Because in many Yoruba traditions, the Òrìṣà are not competitors to the supreme being. They are channels, divine forces and personalities through which sacred power becomes personal, local, and reachable. Olódùmarè is the ultimate source. But the Òrìṣà are the living bridge between cosmic order and everyday life. If you want a metaphor, think of it like this. You don't argue with gravity. You don't negotiate with the sky. But you live inside those realities every day. And if you need help, if you need guidance, protection, balance, you don't speak to gravity. You work with what gravity affects, your steps, your choices, your tools, your habits. In a similar way, many Yoruba frameworks imagine Olódùmarè as so vast and complete that your relationship to the divine is often mediated through specialized powers, Òrìṣà, who carry distinct roles, energies, and responsibilities. That's why the Òrìṣà can feel close and vivid. They have stories that sound like life, conflict, loyalty, pride, compassion, cleverness, consequence. Meanwhile, Olódùmarè remains what the Òrìṣà can never be. The final source that does not need to prove itself. This is not distance like abandonment. It's distance like the horizon, always present, always holding the world, even when your eyes are focused on the road in front of you. Here's one sentence to hold on to. Olódùmarè is the ocean. The Òrìṣà are the rivers that bring the water to you. Same source, different reach. And once you see it that way, the whole structure starts to make sense. Now let's talk about what this means for human life. In many Yoruba teachings, the universe is not only a place of power, it's a place of order. And that order isn't just physical, it's moral. This is where Olódùmarè becomes more than creator. Olódùmarè becomes the ultimate authority behind what is right, what is balanced, what is truly aligned. And one of the most important ideas connected to Yoruba thought is this. Your life has a shape, a destiny, a path, a purpose that is not only about success, but about becoming. But destiny is not always treated like a prison. It's often framed like a blueprint, and your choices determine whether you build something beautiful from it, or whether you collapse it through chaos. This is why character matters so much. Not because the universe is a scoreboard, but because a world with sacred order cannot be lived well through corruption of the self. In a universe shaped by Olódùmarè, power without character becomes destruction. Pride without wisdom becomes ruin. Cleverness without responsibility becomes poison. So the myths, the teachings, the rituals, across different communities, often keep returning to a simple truth. Who you become matters. Because if the highest power is the source of order, then living against that order is not rebellion, it's self-harm. And living with that order is not obedience, it's alignment, a way of walking through life with your spirit intact. So when people ask, what does Olódùmarè want? One honest answer is, a world where the sacred order is not mocked, and where humans remember they are not the center of creation. They are part of it. Quick question, be honest with yourself. If the universe is built on sacred order, what part of your life is currently out of alignment? Is it your patience? Your pride? Your habits? Your relationships? You don't have to answer out loud. But this is where mythology stops being a story and becomes a mirror. Now, one last chapter, because the name of Olódùmarè didn't stay in only one place. As Yoruba people moved and Yoruba traditions traveled, especially through the Atlantic world, names and ideas also traveled. And when a sacred tradition crosses oceans, it often adapts. In some modern contexts, Olódùmarè, or Olorun, gets translated simply as God in the broad sense. That translation can be useful, but it can also blur important nuances. Because Yoruba cosmology isn't always structured like the frameworks people are used to from other religions. And when you squeeze one worldview into another, you can lose the shape of the original. So if you've seen online arguments like, is Olódùmarè worshipped directly? Is Olorun different? Are the Òrìṣà gods or angels or saints? The honest answer is, it depends on community, context, and interpretation. What remains consistent across many tellings is this: Olódùmarè is the supreme source. The Òrìṣà are powerful and meaningful, but not above the source. And Yoruba tradition is not a fantasy encyclopedia. It's a living system of meaning, carried by real people, real lineages, real practices. So approach it with curiosity and respect. Because when you treat a living tradition like a storyline, you miss the point. The point is that these myths weren't built only to entertain. They were built to help humans survive reality with wisdom. So what do we do with Olódùmarè? We recognize a creator too vast for a statue, a supreme being whose power doesn't need to shout, a source that can delegate creation and still remain the final authority behind existence, destiny, and order. Olódùmarè doesn't need a shrine to be present, because in Yoruba thought, presence is the default. The mystery is not where the creator is, but whether we notice what we're living inside. If you want the next episode in this line, where we go deeper into the Òrìṣà who shape creation and human destiny, subscribe. And comment which figure you want next, Obatala, Orunmila, or Isu. Until next time, walk with wisdom and keep your spirit aligned.